Prepper. Prepping. Doomsday? Ooh, those are nasty words, aren't they? We don't like to think about that. The media portrays it so negatively. We don't want to think about ourselves in that light. We don't want to become a prepper, so we just avoid it altogether. Now, I want you to erase that slate for the next few minutes while you watch this video. I don't want you to have that negative connotation. Prepping can be something very positive. It can be wise and loving and caring for those around us. Well, maybe this is kind of a weird topic for this channel, nature-connected life. How does that connect? Disaster preparedness? Well, I would argue that those of us who are adventurers, explorers, we go out camping, hiking, backpacking, we know how quickly the weather, nature can turn and change our whole day. A thunderstorm rolls in, we have to have the necessary items and the know-how to use them or to avoid the situation altogether in order to keep ourselves safe. I think that'll translate into home life as well. We need it to translate into home life. How do we react when a fire happens, when our house burns down, when there's a flood coming? I want to talk about two main things today. What is prepping to me and why? Why do we actually look at prepping? We're going to do this from a practical standpoint. Not that doomsday prepper stuff. This isn't fantasy. This is practical. We're looking at real life. What are the things that are really potentially going to happen? What do we see happening every year to communities around us or even in our own communities? So what is prepping, right? So prepping really has two sides. You have the mindset and the philosophy behind prepping. And then you have the side that gets probably talked about a little bit more. That's the physical preps, the supplies. What do we have around our house or in our bag? Bug out bags, that kind of stuff. Well, from the mindset portion, we need to think through these events ahead of time so that we're prepared. We know if there's a fire in the middle of the night, if I wake up to smoke, what am I going to do? If that's my house on fire, it's one thing. If that's a wildfire approaching my neighborhood, it's another. What do I do if there's a flood or a tornado warning? How am I going to react to that? I need to think through that ahead of time so that I know exactly what to do and I don't have to make that decision in the moment. This is how people are successful in any facet in life. They think through things beforehand. It's how war fighters win wars. They've rehearsed everything in their mind. It's how anyone in their industry is able to accomplish difficult or semi-unknown tasks. So we need to apply that to natural disasters. Now, how about the physical side? Yeah, we'll get into that. That is probably maybe the funner side, right? We get to look at the gear. I know for me, I'm a gearhead. I try not to talk about it that much on this channel, just because I think it's overdone, but it is a fun side. So those are the two sides, right? We got our mindset and we got our physical preps. So then why? Why would we even approach this? Why have to fight that stigma of prepping or preppers being such dirty words in the media today? Well, we do it out of care, out of love, out of a desire for peace for ourselves and for those around us, right? If we are not prepared to deal with these situations, we put undue stress on others, whether that's our family, whether that's our next door neighbor, if we're needing a place to stay or some food, or our government, our community, someone that is providing a service. One less person who needs something allows that to go to another person. So we need to ourselves be prepared so that we don't end up harming others unintentionally. We're going to go through this series and look at a ton of different things. I've got my list here. We're going to look at bugging in versus bugging out. And what that looks like in a situation. Obviously, you don't bug in when there's a fire, you would die. And you don't bug out when something spilled down the street out of a train car that's toxic. You need to stay inside. What does a bug out bag look like? Give me a checklist for bugging in, bugging out. I'm going to do that. Neighborhood. What does neighborhood preparedness look like? How do you help your neighbor who broke their leg when their house collapsed from that tornado? How do you stabilize them? How do you provide what they need in that moment to help others? What about the next town over? What if your town's perfectly safe? Nothing happens, everything's great at home. The next town over, they just got leveled from a tornado or a tsunami. Who knows what it is? We need to be prepared for that. We need to be good stewards of what we have and use that to help other people. This is very practical stuff. How are we going to talk to our friends about prepping? How are we going to talk to our family about prepping without them thinking that we're crazy doomsday preppers with some crazy fantasy, right? How do we gather information if our normal information networks are down, right? Cell phones or whatever that is. How do we approach that? How do we access our documents, right? Your license. If you have to run out of your house in the middle of the night without any official documents or your card or your house deed or anything like that, how are you going to prepare for that? That's what we want to cover in this series. So I hope that you'll enjoy these videos, and I hope that if you come here with that fantasy mindset of doomsday prepping, I hope these practical things will provide you new knowledge and a different approach to prepping, something that is far more practical, far more loving, and peace-seeking for everyone around you and yourself. We'll see you guys for the next video. I think we'll be diving into that mindset in some more depth. Thanks.